everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast, and of course, I am here with McLovin. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing well. And I know there's a lot of things we want to talk about today. I don't know if you heard. I saw this yesterday, and I was going to ask you about it pre-show. But Dylan, that top transfer, Dylan Gabriel, opts out of Oklahoma and going to the SEC, only to go to Oregon to be their quarterback. And I'm not sure, was that a good move on his part if he's trying to really boost his stock?
Oh, and no question.
Okay.
When you think of Oregon, they're always a high-flying offense. Now, their defense may not always be great, but their offense is, historically been fantastic. So if you're a quarterback and you're trying to make an impact and you want to get seen, it's not a bad place to go.
Yeah, and I don't want to, and I'm not trying to downplay Oregon. I know you can go to Oregon and do great things. And stuff like that. I was just thinking like the SEC. That's like the perennial, conference to play football in, right? I guess do we look at it a little bit differently? One conference like the SEC powerhouse versus Pac-12 or Big Ten or whatever, all these other ones.
No, because even when the Pac-12 was a thing, Oregon has routinely been in the conversation for a national championship. Now, they've never been able to close the deal, but they've been that top 10 ranked team for years. Okay. So, no, absolutely. It's a good move if that quarterback, opportunity comes out. And, excuse me, that's a good spot to take advantage of it. Now, if it was going to be, does he go to Boise State? Yeah, probably not a great thing, right? Because even if you amass a ton of yards, your strength of schedule is nothing because you're the Mountain West and you're going to play, both of the Pac-12 and the Pac-2 now. So, strength of schedule wouldn't be there. Whereas with Oregon, you're still going to have a great strength of schedule going to the Big Ten.
Of course.
And you're going to have a couple of out-of-conference games probably that are going to be solid. So, no, I think that won't hurt his career at all. I think it actually puts him in a good spot to, with the way that they put up yards, I wouldn't even rule out having some Heisman conversations if he has a couple of big games to start.
Oh, no, absolutely. No, I could absolutely see the Heisman conversations, like you said. And the expectation will be pretty high on him. And he didn't do bad, with Oklahoma and Sioux Falls and so forth. He's done well. So I just wonder what actually made him want to go with it. He was a starting quarterback. Well, I wonder why all of a sudden he wanted to go into the transfer portal. I guess maybe unless there was an issue with coaching or something of that nature, maybe.
Well, Oregon brings a lot of their team back. So it's not like Washington where they cleaned house essentially, right? They lost their coaches, went to the NFL, tons of transfer portal. Like if you look at last year versus this year of their, their true starters from last year, I think they kept two of them, right? Yeah. So, that team is going to get hammered. But when you look at teams like Oregon, they brought a lot of their team back. They have stability at the coaching staff, similar to, say, Texas. Right. They brought a lot of their team back. Like that's a team that legitimately has a shot at a national title this year in the Longhorns because they played extraordinarily well last year and they brought almost everybody back. And when you look at the teams that were, really high on that list from last year, the Washingtons, the Michigans, even Alabama, realistically, is they lost a lot of players. They lost coaching. There's a lot of things those teams dropped off on, and now you have teams like Oregon and Texas that have stability at the coaching staff, brought a lot of their guys back. I think it's a great situation for them. This is one of those years that Oregon potentially has a real shot at a national championship, especially with the expanded playoff, because now they don't have to be the Final Four where someone always gets kind of, hosed on the deal. This time around, you got 12 teams that have a shot. Well, there's a lot of times that Oregon was a top 12 team. Like they could have had much better shots through the years had there been an actual playoff in the NCAA instead of, I feel like this team's better, so you get to go. I've always
Yeah, and that's the downside to college sports, though, right? I mean, it's all based on
D1
polls.
No. Only D1 does it. Like every other version of football had a true playoff system.
Right.
It's why I always laughed when the NCAA is like, oh, we can't do that. And you're just like, what are you even talking about? Like literally every other single kind of football has a playoff situation.
And you know, and now, like you said, since they've gone to 12 teams, nobody can gripe, bitch, or complain. Say, well, you know what? You know, if we had been in there, we would. No, not all that's the one thing I do like about it. The fact that there's not going to be any, or really shouldn't be any of that, right? I mean,
yeah. So. Well, no, and that's kind of the thing, right? Is when it was 4, you end up with teams like Florida State, undefeated team.
Right.
How do you keep them out? Right. Yeah. But when you're in this scenario, you got 12 teams and you're the 13th team. You can't really be like, I got hosed. It's like, yeah, win more games because there's no way to beat a team at 13. So, you know, if you want to be in, win. I can't say that same thing for an undefeated team that doesn't get in. Like, you know, all of a sudden you're like, yeah, okay, you got kind of screwed on that deal. But if it's 13, it's like, I don't feel bad for you because you are probably at a minimum a 2-loss team. Well,
at least. And
if you want to win one more of those games. So, you know.
I mean, seriously, because it used to be everybody else's perception of who should get in, not get in. You know, when like you said, when you have undefeated teams and you have other teams that had got in that had one loss, you're like, well, and then they talk about strength of schedule and all this. So it really does eliminate, like you said, all of that. I really wasn't I was kind of on the fence with the 12th team. I was like, oh, we're going to get a bunch of watered down games. But at the same time, you never know. I mean, you could get that one Cinderella team that is at number 12 and shoots up, you know.
I mean, look at the Giants, right? Wild team, they cruise through and beat the Patriots to win a championship. So I never rule it out. Like if you're good enough to get your hat in the ring, anything's possible because all you got to do is win, you know, in the NFL, you got to win 4 games, right?
Right.
So you can be above average all year, but if you can finish the year with 4 wins, you get a ring. So I'm not mad at it. At the same time, you can be undefeated all year and then lose to that team, and you can be the Patriots where, you know, you go 18-1.
Jesus, and that one is the one that got you all.
That's
all
right.
that.
They still got an AFC championship ring. It's not a Super Bowl ring. They're not.
Do you think though? Do you think having to play those extra games, that many extra games after the season, do you think there's going to be any issues or injury risks or anything like that associated with it?
Not really. Like you can get hurt game 1.
Right.
I mean,
you're right.
Football is a dangerous sport. Like I don't know that I had a single season that I didn't get nicked up at some point when I played. Right. Like just stuff happens. It's a physical sport. You hit each other. Like injuries happen. So if you play more games, more opportunity to get hurt. Sure. That being said, I always wanted to play more games. Like anytime somebody was like, hey, you can lace them up, I'm lacing them up. So, I mean, especially when you're still in school and stuff, because you're not really getting paid. Like you're doing it for the love of the sport. So,
well, it used to be nowadays, not at the NIL, they are getting paid a little bit now, Bo.
Well, some of them are getting paid.
Not all of them. No, not all.
A lot of them aren't. Yeah. So now
what he said, that just encourages you to play better. Play better, you get endorsements.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, some of that's true. I think some of it is also you got to have a personality that they think they can buy into, or you just got to be annoying, which will do the same thing, right? That's one of those, any press is good press, right? Even bad press is good press. So, you know, as long as you're not out there doing illegal stuff, you know, someone will buy into it. So, yeah, I don't know, but I do like the extended playoff, or the fact that there actually is a playoff. I mean, because four teams wasn't really a playoff. That was, we selected 4 teams, not even necessarily the ones that I think are the best team. We just know it'll be better television. It's like, okay, well, that's dumb. Like if a team deserved to be there, they should be there. So,
yeah,
I've never liked that. Like not a new stance. Like I always hated the way college football, like, even as a kid, watching the Huskies, right? University of Washington, we, I believe it was 92, won a national title, but shared the national title with Miami.
Oh, that's crazy.
Now, that's happened a few times through the course of history with the NCAA. But the thing is sharing a title, really? That's what we're doing? Like, I hate ties. It's why I can't watch soccer. I hate ties.
That's like that. That would just completely negate the whole season. Like you might as well just say that you might as well just say it's no winner. Winner vacated because
right?
of
Yeah, you're just everybody gets a
trophy.
Good job, guys. Yay. Yeah, no, it's not my thing. Like, I would rather lose than tie.
Oh, God, yes.
Like, ties are the most frustrating thing, whether I'm watching or as a player or whatever. I hate ties. Ties are dumb. So, like, give me some sort of way where one team will win.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you. And you're right. Soccer has a lot of those kinds of ties. And I'm like, all that running for nothing.
Right? 90 minutes of running for why? Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean.
Then you pair that with pretend injuries and rolling around if somebody looks at you wrong and it's all the flopping. I can't do it like that.
Oh, that's the whole flopping thing. That's a whole nother issue.
I can't watch that stuff. I'll start to put it on and be like, all right, I'll give it a go. I'll try it again. And I'll be 10 minutes into it. And we've already got a couple of yellow cards and people rolling around on the ground. I'm like, you know what? Never mind. I'm going to go just rip my fingernails out and call it a day.
Well, that's sure we're trying to get to that one stadium down there in Miami for that soccer again. The Euro Cup or whatever that thing is?
Yeah.
The Copa America, I think it's called, or something.
That's correct. Yeah.
That's nuts. I mean,
that was wild.
They just said, hell with it. Just go on in. Screw tickets.
Yeah, I had the video for that queued up, but unfortunately I lost it somehow. But it was crazy that they were breaking into the ventilation system to get into the place. It's overrun with people that didn't have tickets that were breaking in. They end up like locking the stadium down for a few hours, which meant everybody was just like stuck outside, and then ultimately just let everybody in, which is crazy to me. So there was a ton of people in that game that didn't have tickets. I think what really is a spot of concern for what we saw there is, what are we going to see when the World Cup gets here next year?
Oh God, yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on with that, right? I mean, you got terroristic security you got to make sure you look out for, right?
Sure.
On top of, like you said, people trying to come in through ventilation shafts. I mean, they're gonna have to really look hard at how they're gonna secure that facility to prevent what happened down there.
That's the thing, is it's at a ton of different facilities all across the U.S. So all of a sudden you see what happens there, and now you have to try and pivot at all these locations. It's like, okay, well, how do we up security, not just of checking people, but how are you going to up security of potential weaknesses of the building? Because now clearly there are a different type of fan that are going to arrive. And so now you're actually starting to protect the building from it, not just the pathways of how to get in and out. Now you're like, okay, well, how do we protect the building from getting breached? And very weird.
I think you got to partner up with Homeland Security. You got to partner up with the FBI. All your law enforcement agencies. They're going to have to do a lot to really prevent something like that from happening, because that could really, really have the potential for catastrophic disasters if you're not careful. Seriously.
No, for sure. Well,
look at the times we're living in, right? We're living in rough times right now, globally across the world. I mean, and the World Cup is probably one of the best spectacles if you're going to do something to demonstrate whatever it is you're trying to demonstrate, right?
Yeah. Well, hopefully nothing like that is a thing, but
I hope not. I hope not either. I really do.
Even just based on something that we saw down there in Miami is, what kind of financial outlay are these cities now going to have? Because a bunch of these were going to have to remove their turf fields for grass fields anyway, because that's a requirement for the World Cup anyway. But now you're looking at it as like, okay, what kind of safeguards do we have to create so that Miami doesn't happen everywhere else?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's and like I said, I mean, them breaching it was just one of the issues. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, look at the times we're living in. I mean, if they could breach that, what else could they have gotten in there that could have been potentially more dangerous? I'm just saying, you got to look at it from all those perspectives. I mean, that has very serious implications. I mean, God forbid if we have another Boston bombing or something like that.
Well,
I mean,
even if you're not going that route, say there's not a terrorist attack, right? Just say that people want to vandalize and loot, because I mean, some of that happened anyway, right? Like they vandalized the building a little bit. But most of these stadiums, especially home stadiums for like football teams, have memorabilia, trophies, stuff like that. So if you got people that don't have tickets, they're breaking into the stadium. Well, what are your safeguards to keep them now out of those secure areas?
Right.
So, I mean, it becomes a very, very real security risk, and not from just a terrorist standpoint, but just from a protecting people from themselves standpoint.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what I'm saying. The implications are mind-boggling when you're dealing with that many people, and you don't have, like you said, enough people to control, your points of entry. I mean, if I'm the chief of police, I'm definitely looking at that, and I'm thinking like, okay, what's our contingency plans here?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, and for the World Cup, there's going to be a lot more security anyway.
Oh God, yeah, there better be.
But after this, ordeal in Miami, I would imagine they're going to ramp it up even more than they probably were originally planning to, because they're going to have more of them around the perimeter of the stadium itself, rather than just being on high alert around town. And they're going to have to be really involved to be able to keep stuff like this from happening again. Now, that being said, if you have 100,000 people jumping into the stadium, I don't care how much staff you have.
Yeah, there's not much we can do. Yeah.
So then it comes down to the governing body to either delay the game or something like that to try and keep these things from happening. It was something I kind of thought was going to happen there in Miami, is, with people breaking into the stadium. I thought there might be a delay or, a moving of the game instead of, how it went down. But crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, that is absolutely crazy. And I'm not sure all the cities that got announced for the World Cup. I thought Houston was on there, but I don't think we got on there. I don't think Houston got a bid.
So the cities have been all announced. They were announced last year. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Because I know Houston was trying to get a bid for a while now, trying to get World Cup and things like that to come here. And I think Chicago had outbeaten them, and a few other cities had outbeaten them a few times.
Yeah, because we got a couple of games here in Seattle.
Do you?
Yeah, and I know MetLife Stadium has a couple, because they have to get the turf field out of there. Let's see, LA SoFi Stadium, I know, has it also, because they have to get the turf out of there. They have to do they have to get grass. I mean, the good thing about that is so many of the players have been complaining about these turf fields, and for the locations that the World Cup are going to visit that have turf, the turf has to get ripped out. So then it makes you curious on if they're going to try and put.
Yeah, but they just have the grass field instead of going back to turf, which I think is good. I think grass would definitely prevent a lot more injuries for sure.
I mean, it's just different for sure. I mean, having played on all the different surfaces, I've played on true AstroTurf, which is just carpet, basically. I've played on field turf. I've played on the hybrid field, and of course, grass. And grass is the most forgiving. So, that part of it is really nice. Field turf is really fast. So, because it doesn't have any of that give under your feet, you get all of the bite. Unfortunately, that's where a lot of injuries start to happen, stuff like that. Let's see. trying to find all the locations, but they sure have made it hard. Like, I don't want to read their whole article. I just want a list of the cities. Why doesn't that graphic exist? What is?
Yeah, because you got to read all the fluff to find the information you're really looking for.
Yeah, which is a huge waste of time. Okay, I'm not trying to do any of that. I just want to see the location. Oh, here we go. So we got so Houston is in there. You did get one.
I mean, I thought we did, but I wasn't 100% on that. But okay.
Yeah, so the North American locations, we got Seattle, Denver, San Fran, LA, got Kansas City, Dallas, Houston, Nashville, Atlanta, Orlando, Miami, Washington, D.C., Philly, Boston, Jersey, and Toronto. And then, of course, the Mexico is Monterrey, Guadalajara, and Mexico City. So you did end up getting one.
I'll tell you what, if they go to D.C. to have that World Cup, and that's only a 36 by 36 square mile, woo, D.C.'s going to – I'll tell you right now, man, you couldn't pay me enough to go out in the streets of D.C. during World Cup. There's that amount of money you can pay me, man. The trains are going to be overloaded. Crime's going to be out. Oh,
I mean, DC is uniquely equipped to handle stuff like that, though, because they have, when it comes to election times and stuff like that, like they're used to dealing with large amounts of people kind of heading into the area. So I think I wouldn't want to go. Don't misunderstand me. Now, to be fair, I'm not going to go to any of them because I don't enjoy soccer. so I guess
be fair, bro. I don't want to be unfair here.
Yeah. Now, just throwing it out there. Like, I'm going to not be anywhere near downtown Seattle when the World Cup gets here. But, yeah. I mean, unless I end up with some media credentials and then, I guess I have to go because then it's a job-related thing. But so then I would be forced to go. But, yeah, I mean, I don't.
I'll tell you one thing, though. If you're an Uber or a Lyft driver, you're going to be making big-time money, though, during that time.
I mean, you're not, because you're going to be maybe in other cities, but Seattle gets such a chokehold because our streets are designed poorly, which is why we're one of the worst traffic states in the U.S. Over I-5 here in the heart of downtown, they built a convention center over the freeway.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes no sense. It also means
that's weird. That is weird.
So you have a 5-lane freeway coming down. It chokes down to 2 lanes where they built a building over it. And at the end of the day, you're just like, you've made it so that there's nowhere to expand this highway.
Yeah.
Right?
God, man. I mean, if you put a 2-lane highway in Houston, we'd be screwed.
Any major city. It is completely asinine that is how things went down. But that's the Department of Transportation here in Seattle. Good job. Way to design something so poorly that you can't expand it ever.
That's how Savannah, Georgia is the same way. It's so old and been there for so long. The infrastructure is old, and so everything is like trying to find parking is you're better off just taking an Uber. I mean, trying to find parking. But that is
downtown here. They've really made it almost impossible to park anywhere, if you're going downtown Seattle, generally taking a bus or an Uber or something is the way to go. But if the problem with that is, for me to get to, if I'm here and I got to get to, say, the airport that is, 45 minutes away,
right,
when traffic isn't bad, that's a $90 Uber normal time.
Right.
So you're going to try and do this during a World Cup game? That's going to be like $150 Uber at a minimum. Right? So it's like, man.
That's almost like, why even attempt it? I mean.
Yeah. So.
That's like Savannah. Everybody wanted to expand the streets and stuff that in Savannah. And my friend said, why don't they ever? I said, man, because Savannah is built on top of dead people. Like literally is because they had the cemetery and then they would move the cemetery all around, but they would take all the gravestones, but they would never take the caskets. And so they would just throw cement right on top of caskets. So ain't anybody gonna go down there and dig up all that crazy. God knows what you're gonna find up underneath there.
Well, and so here on the West Coast, we have a lot of, earthquakes are a real thing here, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we're not going to do those double-decker roadways. Like here in Seattle, we just tore down our Alaska Way viaduct. And that was because it started cracking. It was old. We've had earthquakes. All of a sudden, the cracks were starting to get bigger. They end up taking it all down. So then we're not going to, on our major highways, we're not going to do double deckers because we watched those collapse in California when they had an earthquake, right? So we're not going to build that type of stuff. So now you're limited by getting wider because you're not going to stack them and you're not going to elevate them. So now the freeways just have to get wider. Well, the problem with that here is, like in the convention center's standpoint, you built a building over the road. Well, you can't get any wider because now there's a building there. So it's a situation where getting around Seattle gets much harder. Now we're building a light rail system, but it's not done. So that's not really useful. When we got rid of our Alaska Way viaduct, which was a 6-lane elevated roadway, we got rid of that and built a 4-lane tunnel.
Yeah.
Now, I may not be a rocket scientist here or achieved the highest level of math, but I can tell you move less cars through a 4-lane tunnel than a 6-lane highway.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about right.
So they keep finding unique ways to make it harder and harder to get around Seattle. So once that World Cup game gets here, it's going to be very interesting to see how bad trying to get around Seattle that week is, because there's just so many limitations as far as how you can get around.
And the crime, and you got to believe the crime rate's going to be through the roof, man, because all those people in that small little area. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's already an area that has a fair amount of crime. So that's not really going to be, that honestly probably won't really change much. In fact, it might even get a little bit better because they're going to be forced to get rid of our homeless encampments that are all over the place in that area, because they're going to have to clean it up for the World Cup to even get here. So
you're going to have to move your living room. We got World Cup coming through here, and take the dining room with you while you're at it.
Pretty much. Yeah. So I don't know. It's going to be wild once it hits our cities, because it's going to be a lot of people coming to town. It'll be exciting. Like, it'll be exciting for the city for sure. I guess I wish I cared about soccer.
Well, that's about how I am. I can't get it. I like hockey because at least hockey, there's physicality, there's there's people getting into fights. I mean, I get into that a little bit more than I do soccer. Soccer it's like golf. It's like I'd rather play it than watch it.
Oh yeah, I can't watch golf. Like, it's I mean, to be fair, I can't play it either, but like, I'm extraordinarily bad at golf. But but all things being equal, I think I could go and actually play golf about once every 5 years. So it's not like I'm ever going to be good at it.
Well, of course not. It's just for fun.
Yeah. So
and it's good exercise, walking up and down them holes. I mean, you burn a lot of calories doing
I mean, you really do the way I play, because it's like hit the ball, go search for the ball.
I think I spent more time searching for the ball than I did playing.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, sir, are you still playing? I'm looking for my ball. You just go ahead.
Play through. It's cool.
Play through. We're good. I'm making a picnic right now.
Oh man! So we used to have this. Really bad golf course. It's called Wayne Golf Course, and oddly enough, I actually live pretty close to it now. But so it closed down. I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years ago now. But terrible course. So like, if you're bad at golf, like, it was a great place to go play, because it wasn't like $100 green fees or anything like that. Like, it was a cheap way to go play. You might have to chase some geese off of the fairway when you go, to hit whatever, but it was still fun. So, but I, again, am terrible at golf because I play never. And so I tend to swing like I'm trying to smash a baseball. So I have a really bad slice because I open the club face as I swing. And I know I'm going to do it, and it just is what it is. But so I just grenade this ball, and it flew forever. But the problem is it probably went about 50 yards and then just hung a right. And then just like disappeared in the trees, right? And so I end up having to drop a ball, like couldn't find it, whatever. And this was a spot of the course where it kind of zigzags up and back. So 5 fairways later, I found my ball. So it took a right and then cleared 3 other holes and landed in the fairway of the fifth one. So as we came back through, it had hit a new ball, couldn't find it, but I found that one that was in the middle of the fairway. And I'm like, you know what? I'm playing this ball.
Yeah, hey, look, I can attest because I can hit the ball far. The problem is I hit it either far to the left, far to the right, but it doesn't go forward. That's the problem. And so, yeah, I'm the same way. And my dad, we were okay, we're going to go play 18 holes today, Jason. Now, it's like $7 green fees next to a chemical refinery play. Nobody cares about this damn golf course, you know? And so he gave me a big thing of balls. And by the time it was done, we got to the 18th hole, I had like 1 ball left. Just one.
Oh, yeah.
And I probably had like about 40 balls, but I only had 1. He's like, Jay, where are all the ball? I said, Dad, they're out there somewhere. Somewhere, I guarantee I'm probably on 4 different fairways, but I ain't going to look for that shit. I got 1 ball left.
They're not in the fairways. They are not in the fairways.
I'm probably out like, I'm probably at the chemical refinery plant, to be honest with you.
Yeah, where my ball usually hangs out is that really tall grass with branches.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I had it one time. I hit it one time, and there wasn't a whole lot of trees. It was just a big open prairie land. And I hit it one time, and I said, 4! And the people in front of me were like, looking all around. No, not you. The people to the left.
Yeah, see, I don't have a real problem going to the left. It's to the right. Because again, baseball swing, right? Yeah. So I tend to snap my wrist. And the problem with that is when you do that doing this, you tend to open the face up.
Oh, I was opening up all kinds of things. Let me tell you.
So it tends to just, and off it goes.
Now, if it's a dog leg, though, if it's a dog leg to the left or the right,
you look like a champ.
My hole.
Yeah, you look like you know what you're doing. Absolutely. Yeah. No. So one thing I have done that I found is I know that I'm not gonna correct my swing, but what I did is I rotated the club in my hand, so that when I open the face up, it basically squares up, and then it started going relatively straight. Wow. And now I haven't gone and played around since I started doing that. I just did it at a driving range, but yeah, I found that if I rotate the club in my hand, that way when my bad swing comes through, it at least makes square contact. There's a golf course out there in Wisconsin. It's called Whistling Straits. I don't know if you've ever heard of Whistling Straits. Mm-mm. They played 3 or 4 different U.S. Opens and stuff. Tiger Woods has played. I mean, it's a really, really beautiful golf. It's actually owned by Herb Kohler and the Kohler Company. They actually own Whistling Straits, and it's a Jack Nicklaus design course, and it's got hills and stuff, and then it's got straights. So it's kind of like part Scottish courses and a little bit of the English courses, and they put them into one. So it's got 2 different golf courses. You can play the straights, or you can play the hills, depending on how difficult. Anyway, long story short, it goes along Lake Michigan. So part of the hole is like it goes right along the coastline there. And Herb Kohler brought this guy from Scotland over because they had goats, and the goats would be the ones that cut the rough, right? Just like they did in Scotland, that they did it just like that here. Well, the guy had a German shepherd or a shepherd of some kind, and it chased one of the goats off the cliff into the ocean. Oh. And so Herb Kohler told the guy from Scotland, "Hey, you're fired. Go back to Scotland. I'm just going to have regular Americans over here cut this grass." I mean,
that's a story about Whistling Straits if you ever want to know about it.
That is some random stuff. That does get us to the halfway point, though. So we will do our station break real quick, and then we will see everybody for the second half of the show here in just a minute.
This is Reggie Jones, owner and founder of Air Sports Academy. Air is based on the 4 core principles: heart, education, integrity, resiliency. Air is about developing student athletes physically and mentally through training, mentorship, and effective marketing. We've created a platform and a blueprint for our state to shine in the brightest of lights. I created this program because it was a need for our state. We needed to have the light shine on the student athletes in our region. And now that is happening at an all-time and undeniable rate. We created a lane for the kids in our state to get their college education paid for and set their families up for future success. We created an environment where serious athletes can now come compete fearlessly. We've achieved this through our variety of elite programs. Our 6-month off-season program, where first-year starters or seasoned vets can all come develop. Our 5-on-5 program, which is all about our line. Our youth tackle program, which is the first and only youth tackle team from the state of Washington to ever win a major national championship. Our 7-on-7 program, which is ranked top 10 in the country every year. Our high school 11-on-11 club tackle program, which creates unique and much needed opportunities for our kids. Our college prep program, which allows our graduates to come back from college and prepare for the upcoming season. Our track and field program, which creates an opportunity for our young air boys and air girls to continue to get faster. In your national program, you receive national respect, which is why when you look at recruiting boards and top player lists from around the country, you'll always find players from Air on those lists. Which is why college coaches from some of the most prestigious schools around the country come into our facility to recruit our players. The Penn State, Alabama, Oregon, Stanford, Florida State, the list goes on. Our players are being recruited, offered, and committing to some of the top schools in the nation. The experience our players and families receive is second to none. We offer a competitive brand of sports at Air. We are the ball. And with that comes great responsibility. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. This is Air.
All right, and welcome back. So we are going to talk a little bit of football coming back for the second half here. And, of course, I want to start this thing off with a spot by Dan Orlovsky on Get Up the other day. And let's see.
Greeny, in the last 4 seasons, the only quarterback that has a better plus minus turnover to touchdown ratio is Patrick Mahomes. The only guy. So he's the only guy that you would definitively, without question, take over Josh Allen. They've lost to Kansas City 3 times in the playoffs. I mean, Josh Allen is 2 or 3 plays away from being a multi-Super Bowl appearing quarterback and potentially Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's lost to Kansas City in the playoffs by freak defense and lost to Kansas City in the playoffs by missed field goal. It's a moronic statement to make, and for some reason, I don't know what the reason is, Josh Allen has become the cover boy for who could be the biggest hater and say the dumbest stuff.
So,
wow. Okay.
and I mean, it's funny because people they keep spinning this narrative now that he's somehow overrated, or he's not elite or anything like this, and it doesn't make any sense because he's proven that he is elite, and I just it is the weirdest stance. Now, if you were going to say something like that for Joe Burrow, okay. Like I could wrap my head around the argument because he can't stay healthy, right?
Right.
Or Trevor Lawrence, sure, because we just haven't seen it, right? Like the potential's there, but we haven't seen it. Similar with Herbert. But you're going after Josh Allen that over the last couple of seasons, he was, it was like 90% of their offense.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I put Josh out. Look, Patrick Mahomes is here. I mean,
Yeah, of course.
he's just here. And then
Yeah.
I got Josh Allen on that first tier, right up under that. You know, I'd put him there. I'd probably put
So if you were ranking your quarterbacks, so you have Mahomes number 1, obviously.
Oh, absolutely.
Who is your number 2 then?
Damn.
Because for me, it would be Josh Allen.
Well, I'm thinking like 3 because I already know Josh Allen would be my 2. I'm trying to think who would be my number 3, I really like Burrow. I think just Burrow's been injuries have really hurt him bad.
But the whole point there is your number 2 was Josh Allen.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
To Orlovsky's point, that is a ridiculous statement.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And you figure the only person that's really been able to beat him is Mahomes, who is the only guy you have in front of him anyway.
Right. Yeah. No. Seriously, if it's not for Mahomes, Josh Allen should be in the Super Bowl. I don't think I know Lamar Jackson's a great runner and a great athlete, but I don't think he's a. But I don't like the quarterback just to only run is known mainly for his running. I want him known for his passing too. And Josh Allen can run the ball and pass the ball.
So that is a narrative that actually isn't even really accurate anymore. Now he's still an elite runner, no question. But if you look over his last 2 years, his passing numbers have been impressive. Now, if you're talking about Lamar when he got into the league, no question. Like when people were saying, "Oh, he's a running back that's playing quarterback," that was fair.
Well, I will tell you to that point. You're right. This past season, outside of Mark Andrews, he actually got his other receivers involved, which he had not done previously. Previously, if your name wasn't Mark Andrews, you're probably going to get 200 to 300 yards for the season as a wide receiver.
I mean, he was doing good the year before. He just ended up getting hurt. So I mean, his passing numbers the year before were actually good.
He wasn't spreading the ball around his receivers nearly as much as, let's say, the Josh Allens, Burrows, things of that nature. Stroud.
Yeah,
the guy that can get to multiple receivers. He was primarily Mark Andrews and then a couple other guys behind him.
Yeah, but you're also talking about teams that, like, when you're thinking of the Bengals, it wasn't a team that they ran a lot. When you think of the Ravens, I mean, even this coming year, they have Derrick Henry. Like, they're going to run the ball.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, John Harbaugh loves to run the ball. So does his brother Jim Harbaugh. Both of them love to run the ball.
Well, but my point there is some of it's scheme. So
I understand what you're saying.
He's not going to throw for 5,000 yards because that's just not what the offense is designed to do. I honestly think he could do it. I mean, because again, when you look over his last couple of seasons, his ability to pass the ball and his efficiency doing it is so much better than when he came into the league. Because I mean, that was my big question when he came in. It's like, okay, he was a run first guy, right? Like he was a one read and then run type of quarterback when he came in. And you're either going to evolve and be able to do other things, or you're going to be Cam Newton, where he didn't really evolve the passing side of his game. And when his athletic ability started to fade, his passing wasn't good enough to become that pocket passer. Not to take anything away from Cam Newton during the prime of his career, but the problem
but let's be honest. If you're a wide receiver, let's say if you're a Justin Jefferson type of wide receiver, or a Puka Nacua type of wide receiver, you're not wanting to go to teams like Baltimore. That's like career suicide for you as a receiver. He's just not going to get the ball as much. You know what I'm saying?
That has nothing to do with Lamar, though. That's just scheme.
I mean, some of it does, though, doesn't it? I mean, not all of it. I'm not saying all of it, but some of it does. Because he, like you said, this is the first year I've actually seen him spread the ball around. But he doesn't really have a true wide receiver one. He never has had a true wide receiver one.
Well, no, because it's a run first type of offense.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Most wide receivers wouldn't want to go to a place like Baltimore.
You could make the same case for Seattle.
Yeah. But
Seattle was a run first, right? So were you? I mean, even
it's really weird to me because you got three really great wide receivers over there, and I mean they should be blowing it out more through the air, but
Well, you got to have an offensive line that gives you time.
Well, that's true too.
I mean, do you think that DK or Tyler Lockett or any of those guys end with more yards if they're on a pass first offense? Of course they would.
Yeah.
So that's why I say a lot of it is scheme, because it's not like they don't utilize those guys, but they
Right.
are a run first offense, or at least they have been. I guess we're going to find out what McDonald likes, but during the Pete Carroll era, even really the Mike Holmgren era, we were a run first offense.
And McDonald does come from the Ravens organization, so he probably is in that run first type mentality under Harbaugh forever. I don't know if he's going to do his own thing or not, but
I think he's going to lean on Grubb, that as their offensive guy, because he's their OC, right? And he comes from a Washington team that did air the ball out, so it's why I really have no idea what this thing's going to look like. I'm excited for preseason, because are we going to be a run first heavy defense type of team, or are the Seahawks going to air this thing out? Like they got the receiving core to do it.
Yeah. And I think McDonald's going to bring some good things over there. He comes from a winning culture, things like that. Sure. He's a little bit younger, a little bit more relevant to the game. So I think he will see things like that. And he'd be crazy not to. I mean, that is the strength of your team, is your receiving core, But I understand what you're saying about the offensive line as well.
Well, I mean, and the offensive line should be better. And we have running backs to be a run-first team still, because we still have Kenneth Walker and we still have Charbonnet, which were both second-round picks. So, I mean, they are good running backs. So, I mean, I'm really kind of excited to see what this team is going to look like.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you one thing. Hey, Houston is going to be a scary damn team to deal with. And I'm really energized, looking forward to seeing what they do. I mean, how they build upon what they did last year. I mean, they brought in Stephon Diggs. They brought in a couple of they brought in Mixon for the run game and a few other little small pieces here and there on the defense. I mean, this could be a really, really, really dynamic team. And they could push for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a tall ask. And the only reason I say that is, people are going to plan for this team now, right? Because they saw what they were able to do last year. You also had CJ Stroud running his mouth a lot this offseason.
That could be one of the things that, I understand what you're saying.
Football players are funny because they're excited to play no matter what. But if they can get any kind of slight or anything like that to kind of help elevate their game. I mean, Tom Brady was a prime example. He'd make up things to make himself mad to get up for games, right? So if you legitimately have a guy that's bouncing around these different podcasts and running his mouth about, defenses that he's going to line up against, it's not even like ones that aren't going to be on his schedule. Like some of them are within their division. So, I mean, these guys are going to have this game circled on their calendar, and they may not necessarily care about a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct if they get a free shot at him. I mean, running your mouth.
I get that. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I do like my quarterback to be a little bit cocky, because that kind of goes with the position, right?
Sure.
But at the same time, you don't want to be overboard to where, like you said, it amps up or puts people the wrong way, and then you got a lot of crazy, unnecessary shots being taken on them.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, to be able to win a Super Bowl, you have to finish the season. And
you have to finish.
Yeah, if you got people that are headhunting for you because you couldn't keep your mouth shut, that could be a real problem. So, and again, I'm fine with a real confident quarterback and stuff like that. Like, I have no problem with that. But don't go out and put bulletin board material for all the other teams to try and come and get you, because that is not going to help you out.
I totally get that. I totally get that as well. And so, I mean, hey, if anything, I guess he's going to have Houston's offensive line working overtime.
They are going to be doing some work.
Hey, he better go buy some Rolexes or whatever, I guess, the watches nowadays that these people like. And
everybody gets cars. Like,
I don't think Rolex is really the thing anymore, right? I mean, that's kind of out of style now, I guess. Yeah, you're right. Cars, Porsche.
Yeah, he's going to be buying everybody cars. Like a Rolex, that's only 20 grand, 25 grand, something like that. No, the amount of work these
It's
guys
funny that we say it's only 25 grand. I'm over here thinking like 25 grand, and I'm like, yeah, but for them it's nothing. It's like,
well, the thing is the amount of work that these guys are going to have to do. He's going to have to go buy them $100,000 cars.
it must be nice to live in that kind of world.
I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know either. I'm just saying. But you know what though? But I do tell myself, look, Jay, though. But these are some big grown ass men going into trench wars. I mean, let's be honest. You're a little 202. You might not last as long. You're 50 years old. Shut up and sit there and be quiet.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because I'm like, these guys are. I mean, it is like you said. It's a violent sport. I mean, look at Nick Chubb. He tore every ligament in his knee last year.
Yeah, and it's the second time he's done it.
Yeah, and now he's talking about trying to get back into it. And I'm like, bro, come back when you're fully ready. But yeah,
it's because the money is good.
Yeah. And let's be honest, for a running back, he is in his prime years right now. It's not like these guys are playing 20 years like a quarterback. No,
definitely not. I mean, 10 years is like amazing for a running back. So getting off your rookie contract is amazing for a running back, if we're honest.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, no, you're right, because there's always somebody there lurking behind, especially now that we had the running back by committee and all this. I mean,
well, yeah, and they don't want to pay anybody either. So I mean,
they really don't. What is it? Yeah. I think the highest that position could acquire is about 10 to 11 million. I think a year. That's pretty much their ceiling. And if you get like the 10 to 11, that's like the Jonathan Taylor type money.
Exactly. It's kind of dropped to that because it used to be a highly paid position. And now it really isn't, which is crazy to me because it's still one of the most physical positions to play. But,
that's absolute. And you don't last very long in it. I mean, I'm really surprised. Like, I look at a guy like Bruce Matthews, that played 20-something years as, an offensive lineman. And I mean, that's incredible with the amount of abuse that linemen take,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's incredible how long he lasted. I mean, you just don't see that hardly anymore. In fact, I don't think you see it anymore, period.
I mean, a lot of linemen last for quite a while.
But
running backs are some of the shortest lived positions because you're hitting guys that outweigh you by a ton.
And the slot receiver too. I mean, they're going right across the middle.
Yeah, well, that used to be true. Their receivers are so protected now that they don't get the hits that you used to get because you used to go across the middle and a guy like Ed Reed would come and murder you. But now because of the way like defenseless receivers, so they have to basically let you catch the ball before they can hit you. Not to say that they don't still get big hits, but they don't get the hits they used to get because it used to be guys were afraid to go over the middle. And now you're protected. And you'll still get hit. Like, I'm not trying to say that, but you're not, you don't have outside linebackers and free safeties and stuff coming in and burying you with the crown of their helmet soon as you touch the ball. You're just not allowed to hit that way anymore. So now you're protected. They got to get their head out of the way. They basically have to let you catch it. So even your slot receivers last a lot longer than they used to. Now you can still go get that guy hurt if you're a bad quarterback, but the game has evolved in a way where it protects them a little bit.
Yeah, what amazes me is how very little protection these guys really honestly wear in this game. I mean, let's be honest, they really have nothing from their waist down in terms of protection. I mean, it's just clothes.
Well, you're not allowed to hit anybody low.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you're not allowed to hit them low anymore. So, I mean, and a lot of these guys still have thigh pads and stuff. The biggest thing is you're just not allowed to go low, really. They keep tweaking rules to keep it so that you kind of get out of their legs. Which, I mean, obviously they're trying to do it for injury purposes. But, yeah, I mean, it's you're not really allowed to go low the way you used to either.
Do you think that we've lost some of the game, though, in football because we've lost some of the violent aspects of the sport, which, let's be honest, we all like to see the big hits. But you really can't see the big hits anymore because they've kind of softened it up a little bit with all these rules.
Yeah, they've eliminated those big hits. But, yeah, I mean, there's elements of the game that have gone away that it's unfortunate they went away. But, again, some of it really is player safety, and you're just like, okay, fair enough, right? Like not leading with the crown of your helmet to go blow somebody up. Okay, that's fair. Concussions are a real issue. I get it. But some of these things that they've gotten rid of kind of hurts the sport. Like the kicking, all the tweaks to the kicking game have been a bummer, like getting rid of the running start for your kickoffs, stuff like that. I am intrigued to see the new kickoff rule coming for this year, because at least you'll have kickoffs matter again.
Right.
But at the same time, with the new kickoff rule, it almost makes onside kicks not really a thing anymore, because you can only do it in the fourth quarter when you're behind, and you have to declare that you're doing it because you line up in a different spot. You still don't have a running start. So, I mean,
that takes all the strategy away. Damn.
Well, the biggest thing is it's like, okay, it's got to travel 10 yards. You don't get a running start. I mean, there was only 5% of them completed last year, or converted, I should say. Well, now you are not even going to get that, because you can't even do a surprise onside kick, because you line up in a different spot for an onside than you will a normal kick now.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be, there's those types of elements that it's a bummer that they've gone away. Again, the adjustment to the rules to bring the kicking game back into relevancy at least is good. But yeah, I mean, there's just some of the things they've taken a step too far.
I know we're almost out of here, but one last thing real quick. Are you surprised? I'm surprised. Honestly, I really am. I'm surprised that Archie Manning stuck around behind Quentin Ewers and decided not to go in the transfer portal. Are you surprised by that?
So yes and no. It's kind of a good spot for him. It allows him to be in one of the top programs. It allows him to evolve his game. And then Ewers is done this year anyway. So then Manning gets to move into that starting role. He's going to have a good team around him. Yeah. Honestly, I think it's not a terrible move for him, especially in an era where everybody moves every year because I didn't get my opportunity and all that. It's kind of nice to see a guy just evolve in a program. And then, next year, once Ewers declares, it's going to be a good move for him.
Yeah, it's going to be a good move for him, and I really think it's going to be a great move for Texas. The Manning family, I have yet to see one Manning that didn't come out and do well. So, and this guy was breaking Eli and Peyton's Manning's records in high school. So and apparently they were saying Cooper Manning was supposed to be one of the better of the three Mannings. So now that his son is doing it, it's going to be interesting to see how well he actually goes out and performs when it actually gets called upon and it's his turn.
Yeah, well, and again, after this coming season, he should get that. Obviously, he's with a great coach in Sarkisian. So, I mean, like he's set up for success taking the path that he is. And again, it's just refreshing to not see someone moving every 5 minutes because they felt like they didn't get their start yet. Sometimes you got to sit. Sometimes you got to wait. So I think it's a good situation for him, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I'm really curious to watch this year as it's Texas and Oklahoma's first year in the SEC. So I'm really curious to see how we go down that path.
Absolutely. And that does bring us to the top of the hour. If you've been watching along with us, be sure to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And of course, if you're on Roku, be sure to stay tuned for the next hour. Other than that, we will see you guys next week. We will not have a show on Friday this week. So we will miss you. So on Monday, we'll be back.